Am I too old to start the infinite banking concept? It's the question number 10 in our 10 direct answers to IBC questions series. And it's a question that's often brought up. Am I too old to start this process? We're going to go through that. We're going to talk through a couple of different areas to decide if this is a scenario in which it's quote unquote too old for somebody to start. The honest answer is, though, is it depends. And it really depends upon each individual and their situation and where they're at in their process. So let's dig into it. When most people ask this question, what they're really asking is it too late for it to be effective? Is it actually going to be of value for me at this stage of my life? That sort of thing. That tends to be really what a lot of the questions are. However, what I would really challenge you to think about is, will I ever need to, or will I ever stop the process of banking? And that answer most definitively is a no. No one is going to ever stop the process of banking in their lives, that movement of money and that flow of money in and out of their system. So having control of a system to be able to do that is super important. Now, and another question I would ask is, think about the money that will flow through your hands from today forward until the time when you are potentially taking passive income, or maybe you have passive income and you want to make sure that it's going into a system that you own and control, or vice versa. How much of that do you want to retain? How much of that do you want to keep within your own system? These are questions that really we should be asking, as opposed to, am I too old? The reason we tend to think about whether or not somebody's too old is a lot of our conventional systems are taught about, invest early, do this early, this or that, whatever it might be. And while the concept of dividend paying whole life insurance does help someone if they start earlier, because you have a longer window in which that compounding and that guaranteed growth is going to take place, it doesn't mean that someone's automatically not going to be successful, or not, the system is not going to work. There's multiple examples of individuals who've implemented this process well into their 50s, some into their 60s. And I've even heard cases of people being in their 70s and close to 80 years old that have implemented this process. Now, how does that look for those individuals? Well, that's unique to their particular situation. But the key is that it can be done. And what the question is, how much control do you want to have? If you want that control over your money flow system, then it's really important to have a proper system in place to be able to do that. And that's what we're talking about with the infinite banking concept. This is about solving that problem that every one of our dollars has, either being put to use or being spent and being lost forever. This is a way to be able to capture it, keep it in the system, and build up a legacy. And not only a legacy, but build a system in which you can operate from going forward. So what if somebody is a little older and they want to start this process? Well, there's a couple of things that we might do differently. One of those might be that we're going to prioritize a little bit more liquidity within the structure of a contract. And we might look at a little bit more liquidity because we don't have quite as long a runway to look at. We may consider, depending upon what someone's insurability looks like, with what their financial system is like, we may consider other individuals that would be insured that would be utilized as part of the banking system. Another situation might be about for capital storage and access, or perhaps more so a focus on legacy and transfer. These are different things that might be in place for a given individual at a particular point in time of where they're at. If somebody's at age 40, well, they still have 20 some years of income that's going to flow through their hands that we can look at building and capitalizing a system for. Even somebody at age 50 could have as many as 20 years left, 15 to 20 years left in which they have that income flowing through their hands. So there's certainly a reason and a need to explore how and where this system could fit in for each particular individual. I would say that if somebody's considering starting late a risk, I would say that that's not really a risk. The real risk is not ever taking full control of the money that's flowing through your hands. Whether somebody's 35, 50, 65, they still have a need to control the flow of that money that's going to flow through their hands. And that's really what the system is about. That's what the concept is designed around, is having a system of control of those dollars that flow through your hands so that you can go do all the different things that you were planning to do and be able to retain that function of those dollars, give them multiple jobs along the way so that your system is operating much more efficiently than it would if you weren't doing any sort of system anyway. So to answer this question, is someone too old to start the infinite banking concept? I would say the direct answer is no. And there's reasons for that, but in reality, it's more so, do you want to have control over the dollars that are going to flow through your hands from this point forward? And if that answer is yes, then the infinite banking concept more than likely has a place in your hands as well.